Okay, I think it's recording now. I went to a different spa today. Yay! I used to go to last year. I went to the Tamworth one quite a lot of times because it was like it was like a 2 hour cycle to get there, but it cycled past Kingsbury Water Park, which is just a really nice place to walk around and cycle around. So I used to like that journey because you get to walk. It's just like the canal, basically. There's a canal that goes right near me, and it just goes and goes and goes. It goes straight up to Tamworth, and it's quite a nice cycle. But I kept telling myself that I was going to do it this summer, but I never had the energy, or I didn't ever had the energy to be able to do it, so I haven't gone there, and I haven't done that much cycling this year. But I'll show it to you in the map. That's Birmingham, and I'll just give it on perspective. Exit. On perspective, Tamworth is up. Tamworth is up here. So there's Birmingham, and Tamworth is up there. So that's Tamworth there, and that is Birmingham. The house is where I am in the centre. But yeah, it's quite a long. It's quite a long cycle, but I've done it quite a few times, but I couldn't do it this year. But yeah, there's a spa up there that I could have gone to, but this year it's actually somewhat a few months about a month ago. It's actually gone up a tier, and it's in like a higher tier now. So if I want to go there again, I have to pay an extra £5 a month, and I have to like make it as part of my contract. So I can't just go up £5 one month. I have to basically go up £5 every month. There is another one which is in Erdington, which is kind of like, it's, I don't know. There's the thing. So that's where I am, and it's just like there, and then up the top. But I couldn't go there either, because that one's 2 tiers higher up, so I need to pay £10 more, or sign up to £10 more. But there's another one. So there's one in the centre, but the one in the centre is just really shit. But there is another one which is, see where that red dot is? So it's quite a long way. And it's amazing because I managed to do that journey by the train. So I got on a bus, managed to catch it just as it was arriving, because I was looking on my phone, and it was actually on time this time. So I got it, and then it took me into the centre, and then I switched on to the train, and it's 21 minutes on the train. And it's really strange because I went from the station. So look, let's put it from here. So that's the map. See where the red dot is? 21 minutes from that red dot to that blue dot. And it also goes to Coventry. Coventry is like all the way. There's another train. Where's Coventry? Yeah, Coventry is there. See this? Where's my finger? There's Coventry, and there's Birmingham. There's a train that goes from there all the way to there in 18 minutes. Literally 18 minutes. There's a train that goes from that time. When I went to go for the red dot, it goes on a slower train, so it took 21 minutes. Even though it's like less than half the journey, it's a much slower train. But if I zoom into the map, so there's the red dot, and there's one. It took 21 minutes on the slow train from the centre to the red dot. But the tram literally just goes from like there to like 3 stops to there or something. Really tiny journey. You know what? That tiny little journey took me 19 minutes, and yet for that same time to get from 3 stops on the, okay, there was a bin truck that slowed down my journey for 5 minutes. But I can't believe that. I got off the train at exactly 11 minutes past, and I arrived in my spa exactly 1/2 past. So it took me 19 minutes to just get up the train, or get up the escalator upstairs, and then go to the tram. There was a 1 minute wait for the tram, not a 10-minute wait, not a 5-minute wait. There was a 1 minute wait for the tram. Okay, I think it actually took 2 minutes, but it said 1 minute on the thing, and I think it was more like 2 minutes. But and then by the time it actually got 3 stops on it, there was like some bin truck that slowed it down for 5 minutes, and then I had to walk from the tram to where the spa is, which was only about a 3-4 minute wait, but that took me just as much time to go from that to the same like time on the train to go from the centre of Birmingham right to the outskirts. So even though this is a spa that's like quite a long way away, took me about 50 minutes in total. And it's amazing because if I was to go from here where I am to the centre and get that, you know, the bus and the tram, it takes me 40 minutes on the bus. In fact, sometimes it actually takes 45 minutes if I have to wait ages for that half-hour bus, because that bus doesn't come very often. On the way back, I was actually quite lucky. The train got off and I had 4 minutes to get to the bus stop before it went, and well, if I would have gone up there, I would have missed it, but I went to the second one and I was actually able to catch it. It does like a little loop and then comes back round, so I was able to catch the bus with no waiting. So it took me 45 minutes actually. 45, was it 50? I think 50 actually, from door to door, not from station to station, but because I spent 5 minutes walking from there. But yeah, take 50 minutes and I can go to this one. And okay, I've been to this one once before when I first joined up on the centre, because there was another Ballantyne that was very close to me before COVID. It was only £25 a month, but it only included one, and because it was really nice and I didn't want to pay double, I was okay with that one. But after COVID, that closed down, so I had to go to join the other Ballantyne, which was on the other side of Birmingham, not too far, but on the other side of the centre of Birmingham. But that one was like a much higher tier. I had to pay like twice as much. It was a nicer gym, but over the years, over the past like 4 years, I think I signed in 2001, it's now 2005. So over the 4 years that I've been going to this gym, it is just getting worse and worse and worse. And I feel like I didn't need to have the goggles. I took my goggles, but I thought I'd test it. I'm going to be in this jacuzzi for 40 minutes. I did not come out of that jacuzzi with my eyes like red and crying. Like often I find with this gym that I'm going to in the centre, they put way too much chlorine in. They test it all the time, but I think that whoever's testing it seems to think that a higher pH or whatever, it needs to be higher than it actually is, because I come out of that, there's so many times, almost every time I come out of that spa, like crying with my eyes just like watering. That didn't happen at this place. So I know that whoever's doing the temperature gauge at of the jacuzzi and the one in the centre is I think they're completely, that it's I don't know, they're not doing it properly, or they've got a different view on what normal is, because it's not normal. It's way higher than it should be. But yeah, and it was damaging my eyes. But this, I was in there for 40 minutes and it was fine. But yeah, going to the Solihull one is actually much better, because I went here 3 years ago and I preferred the centre one. I like, in the centre one there's these deck chairs, but they have it right by this fire, so you can lie on it and you can actually like feel the breeze of this sort of heater next to you. So that's why I like the centre one. You could sit there for for an hour, whereas in this one you can sit there during the day when it's sunny, because it's got these lovely big windows. And okay, sun didn't come through today because the sun is too low right now, so it's not coming in right now. It was a sunny day today, sunny for the first time in a long time. But yeah, it was warm during the day, but it did get a bit cold at night once it got dark. But yeah, I so much more love the people. It felt like England again. Like that's being in that spa actually reminded me of what England used to be like 3-4 years ago. And you know, I actually had much better conversations with people, and I think sometimes I need that. You know, you need to have conversations with people so that you feel like people are real. With the spa that I'm going to in the centre, I'm not talking to anyone. You know, there's one girl who is a coloured lady, and I really like talking to her. I think she knows that there's some really big problems coming in England, and you know, so I like talking to her, because I feel like, you know, I'm not crazy when it comes to this whole England's collapsing thing. But yeah, this place, this one, other than her, there's very few people that I even speak to, because I feel like, I don't know, none of the people in the last, I haven't really spoken to anyone in like the number of people that I speak to in this year has been very, very low. And I feel like with a lot of them, if I were to speak to them about the problems in Birmingham, I don't think they would believe or understand why, because most of them are Islamic. I think a lot of them have either Islamic views or okay with Islam. I don't see any problem with it. I definitely, there's too many people in the spa now in Birmingham that are like this. But yeah, there's a few people I spoke to in this place. Solihull is one of the nicest areas in kind of Birmingham. It's like the Richmond of London. So you have London, and then you have like this sort of nice town that's a little bit further out. And yeah, so Solihull is a really nice area, and I can't go every week because it takes an hour to get there, an hour to get back. Like maybe I could do it in 40. I can do it in about 50 minutes. But yeah, it is quite a long time. I will go, definitely. I'll try and go once a week, and because it's actually near Solihull, I might actually like deliberately go shopping or go a bit earlier so that I can get off one stop earlier, do a walk around the shops. The trains go every half an hour, but if I did want to do like an hour walk around Solihull, that would be good. If I like leave at 1, do a walk, and then get on the train and go to the spot. I will probably do that. I think it would encourage me to get out more. I need to get out more and not just be in the house all day going mad. But I like the people. There was about 3 or 4 people that I had kind of a good conversation with, and yeah, one of them was just like, so how's Birmingham? All good and everything. Like she said that, and I was just like, no, are you kidding me? And then like, seriously? And then she was like, yeah, I thought you'd say that. I mean, she didn't say I thought you'd say that. She'd say, yeah, everyone's saying that. Like, I think she didn't want to sort of put ideas in my head by saying, is it Birmingham really falling apart? I think she wanted to put like a positive in, hey, Birmingham, that sounds great. She wanted to kind of introduce the conversation of Birmingham being great to me to see how I would respond. And yeah, I was just like, 100%, what are you talking about? Birmingham's not great. And then she was like, yeah, everyone who she's spoken to she said she hasn't been into centre of Birmingham for 3 years or something, so she doesn't even know like how Birmingham centre is falling apart. I think some people like, they have their bubble area, and if their bubble area is nice, they stay in their bubble area, and that's probably what she's done. I know if I was living in Solihull, I would not be visiting Birmingham on a regular basis. The Birmingham centre is just fallen apart. It's really, really bad, and it's very, very dangerous, I would say, Birmingham centre now. But yes, this is like a nicer, very nice part of Birmingham, but it's not really in Birmingham. It's kind of on the outskirts, but yeah. And I spoke to someone else actually who said that he knew 2 people. His son bought 4 houses over a period of time, and I think he did. He said he didn't make any money at all. He bought houses, and I think he was renting them out, and then he used that money to go and buy another one. And I think he did it 4 times in a row. But then he started getting, there was one time he had his house, the house was empty for about 4 months, but he still had to pay the mortgage. So that's just money that he ended up having to pay. Another time, there was someone living in there for 4 months, wouldn't pay, refused to pay, and apparently they trashed the house. And then there was another one that was living there for 6 months and just kept refusing to leave. Hearing that story is really horrible, because there's a woman living in my house, and I do trust that if she can't pay, she will leave. The problem is, I'm thinking about it, do I really trust that will happen? I know she's getting government funding, but if the government funding was to just be cut, if the government was to turn around and say, sorry, we're not paying, she's not really from England, I think she's from Africa, but she's saying she's from France, so I think she's from Africa and moved to France, and she doesn't seem French, she doesn't act French, but I know she does have relatives in France. But yes, after seeing what France is like, I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I am concerned. Like, is there going to be a day where she just refuses to pay, just saying, sorry, you're charging too much, I can't afford it, I'm not going to pay, is there ever going to a day where she comes, and if she starts hearing stories of people, you know, refusing to leave and refusing to pay the rent, you know, is she going to start copying them? Is she going to start doing that? And if I do get her out, you know, am I going to return to the property to find that the place has been completely trashed and destroyed, and that the whole kitchen needs to be, you know, that's what happened to him. He said, you know, the whole kitchen needed to be redone because they'd basically stripped the house and stuff. So, you know, with stories like this, you know, the bankers are laughing because they're getting their rent money, they're getting their mortgage, and you know, the huge amount of rent and mortgage that the person has to pay, you know, they're getting all this, but the owner of the house, they're the ones that are actually taking the risks, because if they can't get the rent, then they have to pay. So the bankers have basically got this slavery in this. It's a slavery system. You put the slavery in system in some sort of system, and you've got the slave owners, I guess. These are the people that own the properties, and it's their job to get them to pay. But if they don't pay, you then have to turn around and say, well, we still want the money, and then you try and get it off the homeowner instead. And I think it's so terrible, because some homeowners are decent people and don't deserve to have to, you know, don't deserve to buy a property assuming that everything is fine, and then find, oh shit, England's invited a bunch of shitheads into the country and who do things like this, you know. And who don't pay the rent, you know, I understand that the rent is really, really high, but slaves don't like being slaves. So the slaves don't like thinking, what, I've lived here 5 years and I've been paying £1,000 every single month for the last 5 years, and what, now I've got to leave because the rent has gone up even more and I can't afford it, or I've lost my job, or I don't, and that the shop that I was running from kept getting having things stolen from them, and now the shop's closed down and I've lost my job. How am I going to pay my rent? You know, they don't like this, and they might just think, you know, I've paid for 5 years and I'm not going to pay for any longer. And the problem about mortgages is that it's not just a 5-year contract, it's a 20-year contract. You have to get this money off them for 20 years, and so there's a completely false housing market where people think that, you know, they can invest all their money in a property and they'll be able to get it back through rent money, and the houses will be worth something at the end as well. The housing market is going up, but the housing market shouldn't be going up this much. And you know, if the rent market is falling apart because too many people are not paying, and people are starting to realise that people aren't paying, and people are actually just trashing the home, and you know, there's a huge amount of disrespect towards the owners, the people, you know, this is just going to, it's going to fall apart. But I'm glad though that there were people I can talk to about it. You know, I like having conversations where I'm talking with intelligent people who know this stuff, and I'm not getting any conversation. I'm not having many conversations at the spa that I go to in the centre. I don't know why, but I mostly just sit in the jacuzzi and do absolutely, and just sort of complain about how awful the acid is in the jacuzzi. So I don't know. To be honest, I think, considering how bad this gym is, I'll do it for another winter, and I'll probably stop going. I'll probably quit the gym. I'll keep going because I need to go to the spa during the winter, because I don't like using heat. The heating is really kind of bad or very expensive in my house, so I'll keep going to this spa. But I like the Solihull one, so I'm going to try and go to the Solihull one more. I might consider going up price so I can go to the Tamworth one, but the problem with the Tamworth one is I have to get there by bus, and it takes about, I could probably do it in about an hour and 15 minutes. And it's a long distance, you know, an hour 15 minutes there, an hour 15 minutes back. It's just a huge distance. So I don't know.